Alhamdulillah. All right then. Brothers and sisters, welcome to MAP5, Muslim American Power 5, with three of your co-hosts, the Honorable Cheryl Sudduth, Sister Amatullah Alaji-Sabrie, and Brother Fleming El-Amin from ACGG. And we're blessed to have your presence with us today. We usually start off with a prayer from our first chapter of Surah in the Holy Quran. And so we'll start today, inshallah, with that prayer called Al-Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Well, again, thank you for joining MAP5. We're blessed to have your company with us today, and we have a very, uh, I would say, motivating program today, inshallah. The theme for American Coalition for Good Government for this entire year is honoring our past to protect our future. Again, honoring our past to protect our future. And so today, inshallah, we'll have the second convener or second president of the American Coalition for Good Government, Imam Marvin Muhammad from Texas. And that will be, of course, followed by two of our young leaders, our brother Fareed Rahman from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Masjid al-Mu'minun, and Mr. Alex Mitchell, who is the organizer for a program entitled Lift Every Vote slash Voice, which is relatively new. It is a nonpartisan group that was able to secure about $100,000 to promote a program to make sure that we get these 6,000 people we have identified that vote infrequently back to the polls each year, inshallah. And that's our strategy and our purpose, single focus, going to the neighborhoods with different activities to bring them back on board. So we'll let him talk more about that in detail. But as usual, for our tradition, we have our Honorable Dr. Cheryl Sudduth to start us off with an icebreaker. Dr. Sudduth.
God Monday morning.
Bad Monday morning.
God Monday morning. You know what? Let me change this photo in the background because right now I need some inspiration because right now I'm traveling
Okay.
and it is hot. It
Mm.
is hot and I think I'm in South Hades right now. It's 116
Uh,
degrees.
whoa.
It
You in
feel like a
Arizona?
hundred. It feel like 149. You can't see it real good. This video does not do me justice. My cheeks are red.
Mm. Mm.
I got out of the airport and I say, like they got off the plane and the wheelchair picked me up and I said, and he said, "Who turned on the heat? Turn the furnace on. Who turned it on?" I wasn't even out of the jetway.
Mm.
And then we got into the airport and I said, okay, this is better. The air conditioner was on. And then we come outside, and the 2 minutes it took the Uber to get there felt like 40 minutes.
Mm.
And
Mm.
I promise you, I saw the devil dancing on top of the Uber truck. I was, I was only there for a couple minutes, but they told me hurry up and get inside because my nose felt like it was gonna bleed, and I'm laughing, but I'm not because I'm serious. I get Botox from migraines, and it's gone. I just had it last week. And already I feel like I need it again because I was going to pass out when I walked from the car to the hotel. And I'm like a refugee from the heat. That's why I ran away from St. Louis and Chicago. I can't take it. And I was like, so get in the hotel and I was waiting and I saw the line waiting to check in because our flight was late. So it's like almost 3 o'clock. And I'm waiting, and the older woman who was with me, who was on my board, she's like 74, Miss Annie, and she said, "Why don't you sit down? Because your face is like really red right now." She said, "You
Mm.
okay?" I said, "No, I'm not okay. And why am I standing in this line?" And she said, "Why don't you sit down?" And she said, "Dr. Cheryl, you need to sit down." I said, "No, I need to check in so I can go upstairs. I got a call in like 15 minutes. I need to check in." And it's the elite line to check in. And then they got the rest of the people. But the other line, there's no one over there. And I said, so 10 minutes passed, and then about 12 minutes, I could feel myself. Like, you know that thermometer on the side of the building when they're fundraising
Mm.
Mm.
and the line going up? I could feel it. And so I said, hold on. She said, where you going? I said, I'm going to ask. I don't understand why nobody's saying anything. People are just standing here in line, just like waiting, like it's the thing to do. So I went and I asked him, I said, so, excuse me, sirs, the bellman, is there a reason why we have this line in the elite line? Why are people here? He said, ma'am, let me go ask. He went and asked, and not even 30 seconds later, people came from the back. So if they were back there all the time, why would we have this line? And so anyway, fast forward, I asked the manager, I said, listen, I don't mean to sound some kind of way, but there's a reason why we're platinum and titanium. That means we spend a lot of money with Marriott. And I don't mean to sound a certain way, but I'm gonna sound a certain way. I don't expect to stand in line. When come in, I want to come in, check in, and get to the room. He said, I understand. I said, because I promise you, I was about to pass out in that line. It's 198 degrees.
109.
Mhm.
Every time I talked, the temperature.
The temperature
Goes
goes
up.
up. I noticed that.
It'll be 200 in a minute. It
Yeah,
will
I'm
be
gonna tell
205.
I said, this temperature here is disrespectful.
Mm.
It's disrespectful. There is, there's just, there's no reason to be this. Do you
Mm.
know it was 11 o'clock at night? And it was still 3 digits. And then I went downstairs. It was like 2 o'clock because I couldn't sleep. It said it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Why is it still 99 degrees? So I need this picture behind me. All that to say, I need this picture behind me so I can pretend that
that
I
you
didn't
can
wake
feel the
up,
breeze off
that
the ocean, huh?
that I didn't wake up at Fajr and it was still 102. What? I can't even go outside. I feel captive. I can't go outside. So anyway, I know that it's hot there where you are, Fleming, because I saw it on the news, and I'm not even gonna make fun of you this today, being on the East Coast.
Oh, I get some reprieve today. I get some.
Get the
Yeah.
reprieve, because
The mercy of Allah, Fleming.
Oh
I
yeah,
usually
yes.
I usually don't have empathy and mercy, but I'm gonna give it to you today because I understand.
Let that be a lesson.
This is
Mhm.
this is not right. It's not fair. And brother Rahman, if you over there in this heat too, yeah, I get it. I get it. That's why you people are so angry on the East Coast.
Be careful with you people now. Now let me comment on you people. Let me get on your case now. You people.
I slipped something in. I just slipped something in. If I keep talking about the East Coast, I slip it in.
Hey, that's what the
All
salmon.
right, all right, all right. So anyway, so today, I wanted to give you. I'm over here crying. It's so funny. Um, Monday morning. The question of that's part of the icebreaker. I wish I had some ice right now.
Hmm.
It's so hot. It was-
Well, do they have an ice machine? Go out there and get some ice.
I mean, you gotta walk. It's hot.
Mm.
Um, let's ask a question. What's your number? What's your preference for the number? Who gets to pick the number today? Brother Fleming, you hosting, so you tell us who gets to pick the number. You picking it, sisters pick sister.
Yes.
I'm top picking it. Who picked the number?
I'll pick it this time then. I'll carry
What
that
you got?
load. Let's go with number 9 for today. Number 9.
Okay. All right, all right, all right. Number nine. Let's see. Number nine. Let's go with an insight. Let's see. Oh, okay. Here's a good one. It would help if I could really read it. Number nine. No, I think we did that one. Okay, here. I think we've done this one, but I like it. If you got a do-over for one decision in your life, what would it be?
Mm.
And I think we had one similar to this. It wasn't this exact one, but it was similar. But if you got a do-over for one decision in your life, what would it be? And I have to get Kleenex, so I'll be right back.
You want to go first, Fleming, or
Well, I'm thinking. Go first if you like
I'll
to.
go.
Okay.
I'll go.
Thank
I'll
you. Thank
go. I'll do something that's well, I can't say it's impersonal. It's personal, but not as close. If I had to do over, I would, when I was on the board of the union I was represented by in Berkeley, I would have fought with the opposition to um, go with an international union. We were a local union, and we went with the international. It was disastrous, in my opinion. And so, to try and foster unity, UC being a really horrific employer when it comes to negotiations, I felt that we needed a stronger union that could uh, help us in trying to put pressure on the university to come to a contract, because their strategy historically had been when the contract um, expires, they keep you in negotiations 2 or 3 years, which you should have been into a new contract, and it causes frustration on the people that you represent. Like, what are you doing? You're not the, but so they use the same technique that Trump uses in terms of delay, delay, delay. So yeah, I wish I had um, opposed that. I wanted us to affiliate with the and another independent union that's here. Cheryl's familiar with them. The um, the dock workers. I'm blanking on the actual name of the union right now.
ILWU.
ILWU. Yeah, International Longshoremen's and Warehouse Workers Union. Um, and I and one lesson I learned from that too, a consultant that was working with us in negotiations, I relied on a lot, who's an economist. Um, he had introduced me several months before this question of affiliation came up to the business agent for ILWU. So I contacted the guy and I told him to have the brother Clarence to contact me and what I wanted to talk to him about. Don't you know this non-melanated person did not put me in contact with the brother. And so we ended up going with a bigger international union that they should have had muscle power, but they didn't. They, from what I could see, they just, it was a mess. So that's my do-over.
Mm.
Very nice.
Hmm?
Very nice.
Guess what immediately comes to my mind? I'm considered ABD, all but dissertation. I wish I'd finished my dissertation from Bowling Green State University. I went there because my wife was on the staff there, so I could go to school there free. And of course, my professor got me involved in writing a charter for a Muslim school in Toledo, Ohio, that I had no interest whatsoever in.
Mm.
Fleming, if you don't help them write this, it won't get passed by the state of Ohio because they don't have the writing skills to complete it. Now, I know you and Dr. El-Amin can do this over the weekend. I said, like, I didn't come here for that. I came here to finish my program and go make some money for my family. He said, just give it a shot. Just get it formed. And so I worked with them. I got the proposal together. The state approved it. It became a Monroe Academy of Toledo. It was K through 6 school, Arabic and English curriculum. Um, but the caveat was this that I did not know when I signed off on this. My professor comes back and says, well, Fleming, they want you to be the principal for the first year. I said, I didn't agree to that when I wrote this. He said, well, they don't have the administrative quote competencies to run a school without some professional da 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 da. So I said, well, listen, I will do this for 1 year only. Oh, that was the worst nightmare of my life. And I'll just be very brief about it. I'm not putting deaths on any one particular persuasion, but most of them were Shiite. And they brought this guy in one time who's supposed to be a descendant of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and a big old black sedan like Cadillac with 8 women in the car. I said, what is this? This looks like Pimp City to me. What is this guy doing with 8 women? He was dressed in all this black stuff, so holy and righteous. And I said, okay, Allah's trying to tell me something about this. And the second part of that, I'm in the office after the students have been dismissed. The fire chief came to my office and said, Miss El-Amin, this building you're in was never uh, permitted properly. These people were converting some of these. It was like a big old restaurant. They converted into a school, upstairs, downstairs. He said they did not get permission to do the material upstairs. The rooms had not been checked off on. I know all about that now because I'm on the North Carolina State, qualifications and code of pictures board for all trades. And he said, we're going to have to close this down because it's a fire hazard. Now, listen carefully. Only because Allah had blessed me with a superintendent who was my teacher, he called me and said, Flynn, we have a whole building down on McAllister with a gymnasium that you can move this building into. I said, I tell you what, give me 48 hours and we'll move everything in this building into the new facility. Oh, the board got highly upset with me, but the parents supported me. They said, this is what we need. This is what we've been praying for. Brother Flynn has finally got us to a place we can really call a schoolhouse. That experience just delayed me from doing what I should have been doing, which was finishing up my PhD in leadership and getting out of Ohio. That I wish I could do over. I learned a lot from the experience, but it cut me short on my time that I had. I had to go to get a job after that experience. I think a lot of the experience, but I wish I just stuck to my guns and said, no, it's not what I came here for. Let me finish what I came here for, and y'all can do this yourselves. But alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. When I was listening to Cheryl earlier, though, when I left Chicago to go to Arizona to go to school, the first graduate school, I walked in that airport in Arizona, thought I was walking to an oven compared to Chicago. I could catch my breath for a minite. Say, what have I done to myself? I can't even breathe out here in this area. But that was my first graduate school I went to, Glendale, Arizona. All right, let's move on to someone else. Let them share if they could do a do-over again. Brother Fareed Rahman, would you like to share, sir?
I don't know, man. Y'all got some good do-overs. I don't. Wait, hold on a second.
He's probably saying, I wish I had.
Yeah, I was thinking about something maybe I could share, but I don't know. Maybe if I could do over, I probably would have not stayed in like corporate longer. Probably would have started, my entrepreneur journey a little sooner.
Mm.
Okay.
But I mean, that's just from now that I'm looking back, thinking about it. Yeah, I think I probably did that.
All right. Thank you, sir. Brother Alex Mitchell, I see Marvin Muhammad is on here too. Mr.
Yep.
Mitchell, want to share something? If you had to do a do-over, other than what you're doing now for a lift?
If I had to do over, I would definitely not went to a PWI. Um,
Mm.
my time, both of the times I went to school. I do appreciate the black. I went to UNC Charlotte for undergrad. I do appreciate the black, um, I guess the black family that I got there.
Mm-hmm.
We probably had about 3,000 black students, 3 or 4,000 black students. So as much as a small HBCU. But I definitely wish I would have went to HBCU for sure. All of my family went to HBCU. The only reason why I didn't go because I got into a few of them. My next in line brother, he's like a year before me. He got robbed at NC State. I mean Central, like the first day of classes. And I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go to a different school. And I just had a bad experience about financial aid and all those things came to mind. So that's the only reason why I didn't
Mm.
go. But yeah, I would definitely went to HBCU for sure.
All right. Thank you for sharing that a wide awakening experience there. I see, man, Marvin Muhammad from Texas, the Lone Star State. You want to share anything, Brother Marvin?
Uh, well, while y'all was speaking, I was kind of sorting through things, trying to determine which one can I tell. So,
Oh, tell it all. Tell it
no,
all.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not
Don't
gonna do
listen to Cheryl. Don't listen to
Um,
Cheryl.
Yeah, pick one.
what would I do different or do over? I can't think of too many things because early in my Islamic life, I accepted that there was things that I was going to do that was on me, but then Allah was in charge. So most things, just like your experience with the PhD, I had the opportunity to go to Michigan State at 27 years of age, and I chose not to go because, number one, I needed to take care of my family, and number two, the man asked me, did I have any goulashes? I'm not from Arizona, but I'm from El Paso. That's desert. We ain't got no snow boots in that in El Paso. So I thought about it, and then I said, no, I'm gonna get me a job and go to Houston. And that was I came here in 1981 and been here ever since. But I may have rethought that and went ahead to Michigan State because my area of study was sociology, and my emphasis was going to be on family and rural sociology. And I see that, reading and seeing things with the African American farmers and some of the things that the Muslim African Americans are doing, that I may have been able to do something. But I'm thankful to Allah for all the opportunities that I did get through this life. And that's just something that that you think about. And but that's it. I got a lot I can tell you, but I ain't gonna tell you out there.
As brothers of the faith, I won't say anything either, Brother Marvin.
All right.
All right, let's give one more opportunity to Brother, who didn't say anything? Brother Michael, did you say anything yet?
No.
Share
He came
anything?
off mute though.
All right, Brother Amin, we're going to give you a chance, Brother Imam. Amin, Michael.
We may have stepped away.
I want to hear from iPhone over there with I Love My Church.
iPhone, I love my church. I don't
That's
see that.
scary.
Oh, that's
Scary.
Carrie.
Yes. Yes.
She works. Yes.
Well, thank you. I'm thinking like Brother Marvin. I was just pondering, because this is something I think about often. But if I had to do something over, I think I would have gone to the military. I would have been active duty instead of the National Guard. And I say that because one, I come from a family of military, all of us except for one sibling, either in the Guard, active duty, or married a service person. And I really loved the discipline that I received from that process. And it really it shaped me, and it has taught me that I could do anything. If I could get through the gas chamber, I can get through anything in life. And so it kind of propels me. That experience propels me for life and for service, and how I gravitate to empowering others through that experience, and just looking at just the diversity that the military encompasses in all of what it has to offer. So if I could do anything, I think I would have probably gone in as an officer. If I would have done it over again and worked to try to empower and make changes from within in that realm.
Wonderful. What's your name, sister?
That's Miss Carrie Wiggins. She works for Lift Every Vote.
Okay, you want to change your name on the screen, Brother Fleming, or give me co-host and I'll change it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And Brother Michael, you were going to say something.
You're still not back. Let me respond to Sister Carrie. I'm so happy you shared that, because you have given me. I come from a family where no one was in the military. On my husband's side, he had an uncle who served, but you've given me a different perspective of what motivates people to, or what can be a motivation for our people, especially to serve. Although the dominant narrative that is put out there is in terms of the benefits, GI benefits, or learning a trade or something like that, which is good. That's a good motivation. But yours, I can see, I can appreciate that. And to be honest with you, it angers me more. Well, maybe not anger, but it draws more of my focus to the terrible job that the current Secretary of Defense is doing, and really just the outrageous, in your face moves that he has made in terms of dishonoring and disrespecting the service of African Americans, Latinos, Filipinos, anyone who is not Caucasian and male, which I think is really is such a disrespectful regime that he has. And I would, that's all I'll say, because I can get off on that one. So
I think it's a disservice.
It is a
because people go in, we go in for different reasons, and whatever your reason is to go into it, it really shapes you and it prepares you for life, because it gives you discipline and it gives you structure. And I often refer back to that experience, to that time, and what I learned from it. And it really shaped me. And when my family and I get together, we all talk about our experiences, and it really gives you, and I think about young people today and the discipline that it provided for me, and the guidance and the structure. And then, that's what I see that's missing oftentimes from our younger community, is if they could get that structure, then, we could be a better people. They could be better individuals and learn that we are created for service. So, it's a disservice what is happening, but we keep moving forward.
Keep moving
Yes,
forward.
we do.
We do. And Brother Fleming, before we move forward, I do want to say one thing. Thank you for that. And so, Brother Alex, Mr. Mitchell.
Yes.
I went to HBCU and the PWI. So my sons went to HBCU. They went to Morehouse, so I was glad. So I did get to go to Spelman, and I think no regrets. They all have financial aid issues. And I'm sure you found that even at the PWI. So
yeah. The only thing, I guess at PWI is a little easier to get the money. I don't know why that is. I do know why that is, obviously.
It's
Now,
bigger.
Yeah,
Way
it's
bigger.
bigger. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. That's it. That's
Way
really
bigger. And then I grew up in a military family too, so Miss Carrie is what it is, and so we get to see both sides. And brother Rahman, I think that regret we kind of feel that regret. Oh, I wish I could have started my entrepreneurial journey sooner. But the things you learn in corporate help you make that transition into entrepreneurial easier, right? You understand the pitfalls a lot easier. Um, I think for me, it was that, taking that leap from athlete to to non-athlete was hard. But I'm a writer, and I think I don't really have many regrets, as Brother Marvin said, except I do think sometimes when I'm watching like Today Show or something like that, I always think, huh. I try not to do coulda, shoulda, woulda, but I do think about that because my first scholarship was in journalism, and I always think about that. I think I could have done that better than these people. I would have been better than this person. I had a good, not only am I a good writer, I got a great personality.
We can
Be
say
better
it.
on the show than them. Be better than them. But
Humility.
so even though I'm a scientist and I'm in politics, I always think I'd be a better host than these people. They don't even know what they're talking about. So what I could have done differently? Would I have abandoned science or political commentator? Eh, I don't think so.
Or acting, perhaps.
But acting, I would have been a great Halle Berry-ish
Yes, hey, hey, hey. My
person. She's
heartbeat.
older than me, but I would have been great. I can get my Halle Berry on in a minute.
Please,
And with that,
this is the PG program.
Yes,
and with
yes,
that,
it is.
that's why I said it. Halle Berry-ish.
Oh, man.
Ish. There's some things I can't do. And with that, I'm gonna pitch it on over to my brother.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to say, sigue a la mi hermano.
Ah, for those who don't speak Spanish, you might give this English translation.
Sending it over to me, my brother.
Yes.
That wasn't even Spanish, that was Spanglish.
Je comprende maintenant, mon cher. I understand, my sister.
Yeah,
Okay, well, let me thank everyone for participating in our icebreaker. We want to go ahead and start the show officially now. And the show today has two components to it. One is the theme of the American Coalition for Good Government entitled Honoring Our Past to Protect Our Future. Second component is why is civic engagement so necessary to impact our communities? And we have two young scholars with us today and a team also to participate in that part of our discussion. But we'll start in Texas with Imam Marvin Muhammad. He was the second convener of the American Coalition for Good Government. It started back in 1997 in Charlotte, North Carolina, in fact. And so Marvin pushed me out of the corner, made me follow him as the third president of ACGG. We worked together for a long time, and I really respect his work. He laid a foundation to make my work experience much easier. So I call him Marvelous Marvin Muhammad, Imam Muhammad. Welcome to Muslim American Power 5.
Thank you. Well, with the theme about history and our future, I want to mention something because this is something that I've been really telling people. Not a lot of people, because I don't have the platforms that I used to have. But when you and I had a conversation last week, I did the thing. I have a hobby now, and I can go to newspapers and I look up Muslims, to see what I can find. I found something that was very, very interesting. There was this 28-year old, I'm not old man, young man who was on the verge of running for the school board in his city. And so I read it and I saw the dynamics behind it and what happened. And now I see how this man has developed. He became a commissioner. He's also the convener of the American Coalition for Good Government. But we don't know that history. And we haven't taken the time to look at that history. And history is something that builds us. And I'm saying that because right now, all of us have history. We have good history, and I'm glad with the icebreaker was really good because he got to see something, from us. So the thing is that we have to look at where we came from. We have to read, especially this day and time, and what's going on in politics in our society. We have to read what David Walker said about the Negro politician.
Mm.
We have to understand that. And one of the things he said, and I'm paraphrasing, he said that the problem that the Negro politician has is that he's always going knocking on someone else's door trying to get in. I said, I can't believe this man is not living this day and time. So to me, coming from my background, coming out of the Nation of Islam, the World Community of Islam, the American Muslim Mission, and everything that we had, my understanding fell right in with him because what he was saying is that we have to position ourselves to do things for ourselves so that if there's anything they need, they come to us. And it doesn't have to be a great number of us. We just have to get an understanding. Looking at history, with the exception maybe of the Niagara movement, there's very little where African American leaderships, and I'm with Muslims also, where we have come together and had a conversation and came out with objectives. Not to say, hey, this is the such and such a plan or this is such and such a plan, but to go in and look at what we're doing. Who's going to be our farmers? Who's going to be our teachers? Who's going to set up our grocery stores? I don't know if you read Imam A.K. Hassan's book. And I do remember when I was 16 years old in LA, I passed a building that says your grocery store. And I thought it was amazing. Mine? You mean it's not Mr. Safeway's? It ain't Mr. Piggly Wiggly's? It's your grocery store. But when I read his book, and he was coming from the East Coast, and he went to the West Coast, his family were grocers. His family had a grocery store. So when that was ignited in him again, it wasn't new. It was something that was already there. So we have to understand history. We have to understand this situation. And let me say this about America's president. There were actually worse presidents than him in the history of America.
Yes.
And some of them we clap our hands. So why do I say that? We had many presidents, who were slave owners. We had many presidents that pushed segregation and Jim Crow laws. So we have to go back and look at the history and to see what people did, but we also have to look at it and see how we fought those fights. And when you look at history, one of the amazing things that I'm finding, it begins in the 50s, and there's a bunch of information in the 60s, into the 70s, and in the 80s and the 90s. But the Nation of Islam was really greater than what we think it was. This is under the leadership of Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the things that were done, and the opposition that came against him. So this is history we have to understand. We have to understand and we have to see things. Alhamdulillah, I think we are a little more educated than what we used to be. But we have to take those skills, as the brother was mentioning about working in corporate. And no, I'm sorry, Sister Amatullah mentioned to him, well, one of y'all said something about working in corporate and about utilizing everything that you were taught in corporate. I didn't work in corporate per se, but I did work for the state of Texas for 40 years, and I had some pretty good positions. I had some grip, I had some authority. But everything that I learned, I coded it for where I came from, meaning Islam. My approach with my staff was Islamic. Want for your brother what you want for yourself. The way I looked at things, bringing things and putting them on paper, they got contracts, but as y'all know, there's lots of trees. So I'm saying that, and there's the last I could say, but I'm saying that history is important to us. But the biggest responsibility we have is writing our history. A few years ago, and this is going to be my last thing that I say now, is that I had an opportunity to make a speech on history, and it was Black History Program. And it was a good number of people, good number of Muslims, good number of people of European descent, good number of non-Muslims. And when I started the presentation, I said, this is going to be a different African American history presentation. And they all looked at me. I said, because I'm going to start with Adam. And I went to talk about the history of humanity, which is our history. So Imam Muhammad has said this. He says that I am an owner of the United States of America. My share may be small, but I'm going to be responsible for my share. I'm going to get with the little people like myself and the makers and the shakers, or the shakers and the makers, whichever it is, and whether they want me to or not, because I'm an owner of the United States of America. Let's go back and look at what we went through as a community, and a community of people, meaning African American people, historically, to put us in a mindset that I'm not just someone that has to go to somebody else, but I'm going to do things and I'm going to act like an owner. As our brother Fleming was saying, he knew what he wanted to do. He didn't want anybody to put him in a position. But that guy I was talking about, that 28-year-old guy, he was kind of thin and had a mustache. His name was Fleming El-Amin. I saw that.
Oh, alaikum assalam. My brother spilled the beans on me. My brother spilled the beans on me. That was a long time ago. Alhamdulillah. Thank you for those kind remarks, Brother Marvin. Because we have one guest, two of them that have another obligation at 2:30. I want to give them a chance as we move forward. And we're going to come back to Brother Marvin because I'm sure you have questions you might want to ask him. If you look at the website today of American Coalition for Good Government and look at the agenda, it was Marvin Muhammad who put that together the first time. And we've only added to it, trying to improve upon it, but he set the foundation for the agenda we have now on our website for the American Coalition for Good Government. And that's just one of many things I could talk about, the marvelous Marvin Muhammad. But at this point, it's 1:53. Let's give our younger voices an opportunity to join us. And that would be Mr. Alex Mitchell and Ms. Carrie Wiggins. I'm sorry, Carrie. Forgive you, brother, please. Because they now serve as organizers for a group that's dealing with a specific agenda, trying to get some more people in this political process for the upcoming election. And the organization has identified about 6,000 people who want to convince to vote in this next midterm election. So I'll let them take it from there. Alex Mitchell or Carrie Higgins, either one of you.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass it to Carrie. I'm gonna fill in.
I knew that because that's how we kind of roll. But first, I'd like to say thank you for this opportunity. I'm just blown away, and I'm just thinking about the next time I can sit and listen and learn. This is an amazing group of people to be gathered with, and so I'm hoping to come back again because I feel so inspired just by this first pieces of this conversation. So thank you so much, Brother Fleming, for inviting us to come on and share about this work, because I'm learning about me in just this small period of time, feeling empowered. And so every vote is just that. It is designed to empower our community. I think of it as taking care of our vote, protecting democracy, but understanding what that means, what all has gone into being able to vote, and what it takes for us to continue to vote. And Brother Marvin, you said this, your grocery store, right? That's what I think about your vote. When we talk about lift every vote, we're looking.
She's traveling her car, Alex, is she?
No, she looked like she's
back.
She's back. Okay.
Yeah.
But my apologies. I don't know what happened. Technology. But, looking at, we're trying to get individuals, 6,000 plus residents in our community to want to be able to vote and understand what that means. It's about your voice. It's about where you live. It's about your education. It's about your neighborhood. It's about our taxes. It's about our community. It's about our youth. It's about someone forged a path for us. And what is it that we are forging for our children? Who's standing on the wall for our children? And what are we teaching them if we're not investing into this next generation, and we're not teaching and encouraging reading so that you can grow and understand that your vote actually does matter? It is your voice. It is a segue into how do we transition. And Brother Marvin, I hate to keep referring to you, but you're saying so many things that resonate with me. Is will our children have an opportunity to choose to attend an HBCU or PWI? Will that opportunity be there? When you think about our children that are graduating high school, entering college, what's gonna be there for you? Because you think about the children who are the young adults who are now graduating college, what's there for them? How do we understand to do like the brother said, being in corporate and then going into entrepreneurship? That's very important to be able to. I think COVID showed us a lot, but it also hindered us a lot. And being able to utilize your voices, going into communities, going into churches, bridging young and old. And Alex and I, we that intergenerational approach to this work, and I think that makes us different. I'm learning from Alex as Alex is learning from me, and I think sometimes we don't realize as seasoned adults that we can learn from young people. But I walked into the room today and Alex's eyes lit up when he saw me. That makes me feel really good. I don't take that for granted, because it means that I've been able to help teach this young man something, but this young man teaches me every day something, one that I can depend on him. Two, we can communicate, we can talk and brainstorm, and he shares so much energy. That's what Lift Every Vote is about. It's about bridging young and old, old and new, growing and learning and teaching together. And so that's what we're doing here in our community in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, working along with Brother Fleming, trying to make a difference in this community. And it's all around democracy, sustaining democracy and understanding what democracy looks like and how do we hold it and how important it is to us as a people.
Wow, Carrie. Thank you for that. I don't even have any much to add to that. That was great, but we definitely feed off each other's energy. She's been lovely to work with, and I'm learning a lot about myself and growing in the process. I will say I like to think a lot of times we use like voting like as like I like to say it's like a lot of people say it's like the ceiling, but it needs to be the floor, the very, very baseline. The very, very minimum you can do is take an hour, 2 hours a day just to cast the vote. The real work happens after you cast the vote. It happens with accountability. It happens showing up to city council. It happens at your local level. So a lot of people, I know our biggest turnout always in a presidential election. And that is not where you're going to find your power. Your power is going to be in your neighborhood. Your power is going to be at your city council. Your power is going to be on the local level. And until we can understand that our power is at the local level, we're going to continue to be in this system or the same vicious cycle of voting every 2, 4 years for two parties who, frankly, in my opinion, outside of the theory vote, Alex Mitchell's opinion, that have done nothing for us this entire time. And I like to say you got to do for self and do for community. So I think that is important. So the whole point of Lift Every Vote is lifting that community. We want to bridge that gap in between people in politics and people and their communities as also their elected officials. Uh, and I just want to add that a lot of times we are we got to meet people where they are. So our goal at Lift Every Vote is like to come in communities and gather trust from these communities. Like you want to be able to trust the people that you're working with. So we want to be able to provide resources so you can go and like, hey, we're connecting you with this community partner that can like figure out how you're going to get ride to this place or figure out if you need rides to the polls or childcare for your kid or whatever it is. We want to be that person or that group, that entity that comes and provides insight and resources for those things, as well as lifting your voice to know that your voice is your power. So that's all I wanted to add.
Mm-hmm.
Alex is already doing.
I think. I'm sorry, Brother Fleming.
I was going to.
Alex, it made me think of.
Go ahead. You go ahead, Carrie. I'll come after you.
I'll just say, Alice made me think about something. When we talk about that next gen, that next level, we always think about what's next, what's after this, and it's being intentional about helping individuals find their voice for advocacy, but it's also about building that next generation of leaders. What does that look like? When you say, who's going to teach our schools, who's going to build our communities? We have to be able to model what that look like and to help try to shape those new leaders who are coming forth. And as you show individuals how to empower and galvanize their communities about how your streets look, who's doing what in their community, who's your neighbor, raising those leaders to continue to work so that, you know, we can sit and hear that next generation talk about, you know, how they rebuild, because it's a time for us to be able to rebuild and shape how we move forward. Everyone is doing it, building off what was off our history, and we need to be able to do the same. We need to be able to continue to move, to shape that, and to help our young people understand and be inspired about your history, but knowing about your history, knowing about your culture, knowing about where you come from, and why you should be proud, why you should be educated, it's power. That's what a lot of times individuals don't want to see us grow and learn and move away. Thank you, Brother Fleming.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Alex, for representing Lift Every Voice and yourself so well in this MAP5 program. We are indebted to you for your contributions, and we thank you. I know you have a 2/3 appointment coming up. We're going to give another young voice an opportunity. His name is Fareed Wan. He represents the future, and I'm going to tell you why I say that. He replaced a young man who was a treasurer for the masjid for 50 years. Let me say that again. He replaced a young man who was treasurer at the mosque, masjid as we call it today, for 50 years. So Fareed Rahman stepped into the role. He has real acute skill set, and of course he has the trust of the community. But he also participated recently in our Urgency of Now March in Chicago, Illinois. And I had the privilege of going up there with him on a bus ride that will stay in the back of my mind for years to come. I was so impressed with him because he brought all of his sons with him, the youngest ones to the oldest ones. It was really impressive to see that. And the young man who sort of coordinated, Naeem Majid,
Nasif.
Nasif Majid, it's his son who sort of heads up the Charlotte Muslim caucus down there. And he sort of helped organize the whole trip. And I saw this brother doing prayer with his baby on his back. Now, I read about Prophet Muhammad doing that over the years, right?
Yeah.
It demonstrated that's how much love his kids have for him. And my heart just smiled to see that happen. Brother Fareed Rahman, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Please feel free to share your experiences and what you're contributing now to the whole civic engagement movement that we're involved in Winston-Salem. And whoever else you'd like to share. He's also a cute coach too when it comes to basketball.
You see Imam Joel behind
Oh
the
yeah,
camera,
I didn't
right?
see him.
He's photobombing
I see.
he's photobombing the Zoom. I told him, I said I'm on camera. He purposely walked around
Walked in there, okay.
just to give the greetings to everyone.
Telling me it's $5 to ACGG.
Yeah, yours, not $5. Yours
okay.
$15.
Thank you, sir. That's why he's our treasurer.
It's $15. All right. Yeah. So I don't know. Where do I begin? I guess I'm a native of Winston-Salem. I'm born and raised here. So I attended Carver High School here, and so that was a time period where, you know, you only wanted to go to Carver High School. So I don't know why would anybody else want to go anywhere else but Carver High School. If you know anything, I mean, Brother Fleming has some Carver High School graduates in his family lineage as well. Am I right?
3 out of 5.
Okay, so again, so you know the great Carver High School here in Winston-Salem. I also attended UNC Charlotte as well, so I'm a UNC Charlotte alum. And my major was in business and management information systems and entrepreneurship. And I'm gonna harp back on something for a second, and I'll get into the civic thing because it's important. I'm reflecting today because of that. So after college, and I moved to New York City. I lived in New York City and in the tri-state area for almost a decade, and I was working in corporate there. And then I started having a family, so we started moving back towards the South because it's harder to, I'm a Southern boy. My wife is from Brooklyn, but in terms of wanting to have a family, I want to be I didn't want to be in the city. So coming back to Charlotte, I moved back to Charlotte, and I got with some brothers down at Masjid al-Shahid, and I left corporate, and we started a a farmer's market. It was just like on the corner of Sugar Creek Road in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I may have been 31, maybe 30, 31. They were all in their 60s. They were like 65 and older. It was three of us. It was four of us total. One of them passed during COVID. His name was Hassan Al-Ghani. The other one, his name was
out here.
Hassan Al-Ghani from
From the Bay
California.
Area.
From
That's
Oakland.
right. He was my mentor.
Oakland, yeah.
Yeah, he's from Oakland. He was my mentor. He taught me a whole lot, which is why one of the statements I said, I wish I would have left corporate sooner. Another one, he passed on Saturday. His name is Wahab Aziz. And his janaza is tomorrow. So when I was reflecting about that, and then there's me left, and then there's Lawrence Muhammad. He's left, and he's in his 70s as well. So I was just reflecting on that when I said I would left sooner, because when I moved, when I was in corporate, it was just corporate. It was just, it wasn't community, it wasn't brotherhood, it wasn't, generational. It was just capitalism, business, you in somebody else's environment. And I think that's what I say. I did learn a lot, but I tell you this much. This is my statement. I stand on it. I learned more selling fruit on Sugar Creek Road than I learned in a decade in corporate finance, operation, Six Sigma operations, all kinds of things, working for a Fortune 10 company. And I learned that with three brothers who just wanted to pour into somebody that was willing to do some work with them. That was it. So I make that statement on there. That's where I began. As far as civic, man, I don't consider myself like into like some of you have a passion for like vote civic engagement and things. I want to learn more about it. I Part of what I've been doing over the years is I work with young people, and I got three sons. And I would just drag them to things because that I was homeschooling them. So I would drag them to things as a way of just making them aware of certain things. It wasn't so much like I have a passion for it, but I mean, like for an example, maybe like 5, 6 years ago, we took them to Alabama. We walked across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. We had that whole history lesson with that. And it was just a way of just introducing them to like the history, but also hoping one day that it may be something that's beneficial to them. We take the pictures, we do the things. So like I've taken them to a number of events, to the point where like when Ibn Nasif Najib reached out to me, he said, would you like to come to Chicago, his organization, Charlotte Muslim Caucus? And I like to support young people, doing anything that's positive. And so I said, all right. And but I didn't even think I was going to be able to make it. But I asked my two older sons, who both of them now are preparing for college, by the way, if they wanted to go without me. One of them he's in community college. The other one will be going in January. But I asked them, did they want to go without me? If I didn't go, do you want to go? And we talked about what it was about. And they said, yeah, they wanted to go. So I think like that, to me, that was just a remnant of like, just over the years, introducing them to different things, letting them go, see what it's about. And so that trip to Chicago, I learned a lot about it. I mean, it was the 60th anniversary of a march on Marquette Park with Dr. King. I think back then they were marching for housing and voting rights and things. And I think 60 years later, we marched for mass incarceration, voting, housing, and those things. And then I had my younger son. He's 18. I mean, he's 8 years old. I had him with us as well. We out there in the rain, and we got ponchos on, and it was a good event. But again, you don't know how these things inspire somebody else or just give them a memory of something that was there. Now, the bus ride for me, like Brother Fleming said, was like that was a wild bus ride. It was a long bus ride. But after the fact, it was well worth it. It was well worth it because we were there. It was an interfaith activity that was there. It was a lot of networking that took place. We had some good discussions on the bus about civic engagement, about how do we how do people get involved in different things and at their level. And that's for me, that's what it's about. So I am a member of ACGG. I try to be a service in the area that I'm able to, like in terms of whether, we're doing some things as far as updating our website and other things like that. I'm into technology. But I leave the and then if there's a hand or somebody got an idea or something that they need me to support, I'm always willing to support or see if it's something that fits our value. And then one other thing is I want to share is that recently we also went to me and my youngest son, we went to Newark, New Jersey for an event. It was a technology event commingled with a civic event. So, and I was there to speak to handle some technology questions about AI, about ways we can do um, trainings and things like that. But I think also it was commingled with a civic event there, which was headed by another member of ACGG, Jimmy Smalls, who his organization is, if I believe, Muslim League of Voters in New
Right.
Jersey. And so he had throughout, so every, let's say every 30 minutes or so, a new candidate would come and speak to the audience, because at that time they were gearing up for different elections that were happening. So they would come and speak to people there or whatever. Every 45 minutes, we will stop, let them come in, speak, and give that spiel. But I had a question for uh, the sister. Her name is Amina Bey. She's the first Muslim councilwoman in Newark. And so I had a question for her, which was related to how is technology being used in, their campaigns and their ability to reach voters or communicate effectively to voters, et cetera. Because they were struggling, or they were trying to come up with ideas of getting more students active in voting. I think that, and the number at that time was like, from last year to this year, they had about, I want to, like, they go into the school. They had about 300 students that were eligible to vote in that district, and they had that previous year they had about 300 of them that voted, and then this year they were down to like 70 students. And I'm looking at the demographics change a little bit. I'm saying, how are you reaching them? What methods are you engaging with them? Because we know that they're not more aligned to take a flyer or knock on your door or whatever. We got to get to them where they're at, So any ideas of that? So we had some good discussion on that, and it kind of went hand in hand with the tech part of the event that we were having. But yeah, when it comes to just civics, man, Fleming just drags me along to, you know, he drags me along as he see fit. It's hard for me to tell him no. I usually, I don't think I can tell him no. But it's always a good learning experience for me. I try to bring my boys in it and anybody else. So that's my spill on civics.
Thank you very much, Brother Fred. I don't drag. I just asked you to come with. But but you made a tremendous contribution. Thank you so much. Each one of you have a different perspective, and your skill sets are needed. They're really, really needed to take the community forward. I saw Brother Abdul Hassan come in on us. Yes, from New Jersey. I do believe that's my brother.
Yeah.
See.
Alhamdulillah.
Yes, alhamdulillah.
Alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Let me ask you this, Brother Fleming. Does Brother Alex have to leave? I know his sister Carrie had to leave.
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
leaving this week.
Alex has to go
Well,
to
go ahead,
another
me.
meeting.
I'd like to ask him a question before he.
Okay. You have time for a question, Alex?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yes, go ahead.
And what you're doing with Lift Every Vote, are you making plans or developing strategies as far as ways we can combat the voter suppression efforts, which we know are already underway? But is your group considering what means and measures we could use to combat the voter suppression efforts?
So yeah, so North, well, I'm gonna speak for North Carolina specifically. In
Yeah,
North
I'm talking
Carolina.
about your area. Yeah.
Okay, yes. So North Carolina, we've been they are really attacking the black community when it comes to voting. They're trying to pass a bill well, our governor vetoed it, luckily, to like we can't play music at the polls. So a good thing for young people, Brother Free was saying earlier, like getting them to the polls is like having music. Like I'm a member of a Divine Nine entity, Kappa Psi. So we like stroll and bring our members out, and that is a way for us to come out there. So I guess sup with the voter engagement, voter suppression piece, the best way to combat that is to show up, right? They don't want us to come, so they don't want us to vote. They're trying to take us. So a deal I had because you couldn't play music at the polls. So idea I had was we like throw like a silent party, like we would not be silent party. So you can like order not order, you can like rent like headphones. Everybody's kind of like listening to the same music and still partying out there in the polls. Get the news out there and have it. You got to like raise awareness. So we are being silent because no one can hear the music, but we still having a party. Y'all can't shut us down. Y'all can't stop us from doing what we want to do. So a way around that would be to have like a silent party at the polls. So like we have like bring a DJ. You have like probably like 100 or 150 little earpieces that you're putting on, and having that event in like as a form of protest. So things like that you can get ways around that you can go around these laws or things they're passing because they didn't never set like a decibel level. So what is loud music, right? So I think we have to get into the weeds of like what and I'm more of like the aggressive form of protest personally. Like I've been arrested multiple times for protesting, so that's kind of the lane I'm in. But I mean, everybody's not on that same wave, so I'm just trying to find other areas, people that get more people involved that are not willing to, put their bodies on the line, that type of thing.
All right. Thank you.
Another example, there's a national effort by Dr. Barbara Skinner. She trains people to be at those precinct locations. It's entitled Faith Leaders for Democracy. And you go through a training, and they have a room full of lawyers that you can call up if you say anything funny business. By that, I mean trying to prevent people from voting, etc. I've done that for a number of years, and some people be turned off during early voting times. And that's the time where you're allowed to make changes, adjust whatever you need to adjust, and go ahead and vote. But no one should ever be turned away from a poll. So we've had to intervene in some cases to make sure that person was able to vote. So having someone there at that site, especially during early voting. Now, this year in North Carolina, they reduced early voting down to 10 days.
Hmm.
Usually we have 3 weeks. That's another example of how they're trying to suppress people from voting because early voters will become out in large numbers
Mhm.
traditionally. So the campaign will go forward. We just bring out more people. We're not going to stop. We're not going to stop now. You can't stop us now, in fact, because we're in a divine jurisdiction. And I'll leave it at that.
So,
Alice?
Alex, so I'm just gonna tell you, so in the 90s or early 2000s, the same thing, like what we did, Divine Nineties, this it's very similar,
Hmm.
except we gave tickets to the party. Okay, you voted, we having a party.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah.
We having a step show, we having a party. So so the party was even after voting, right? Just
Okay.
bring your little sticker.
I
You
vote.
vote
Bring your
sticker.
little sticker and you get into you get into the club or you get into the party, you get into the step show, right? And the other way is like I know that they're not, you can't bring water, you can't bring whatever. So all you do is you just can't bring it
On site.
to the polling site, right? You can't stop me
Great.
from giving people a free ticket
Hmm.
at the market on the corner away from the polling site. Take this little ticket, go pick up your water, or have a van 2 blocks away from the polling site, and that van is giving out the water. Can't stop me from doing that and give people a ticket. And so they're not getting it for free. I just gave them a ticket and the vouchers say they get the water. I didn't stop them. You can't stop me from that owner is getting paid for the water. He just gave them a voucher. So things like that, because it's hot as Hades out there where you are. I
Absolutely.
said that at the beginning of the show. So,
We did the same thing like
stuff
that in
like that
Georgia.
you can do and you can get around it. Now, getting them young people there, I've been spending the last, like I told you at the beginning of the show, the last week and a half, 2 weeks actually. And we got another week of dealing with young Dems. Last night I was on until 9:15, 9:30 with our young Dems. And that was one of their questions was, what can we do, and then what advice to working with them. So young Dems here is once you age out at 36, right? And so I think that part of the issue is they feel like other people, I mean, are not listening, or not bringing them in, or not welcoming them. And I said, welcome to my world too. Hell, I feel that way a lot of times. I'm older than you, but I ain't older than some of the people I want to get out of my way, right? I'm like, so I think what I would like to see is something that I've consistently said, is that you have to find a way to not only bring people in, this so-called new generation or younger, put it in quotes, in to do the grunt work, or to do the work that you don't want to do. You got to bring them in to do really substantial, meaningful work. If you're gonna bring somebody in to do work, you got to bring them in that has a trajectory, right? And you got to touch it. Okay, so I see you want to be an assembly person. Well, you can't just come out of high school running for assembly. You got to learn some skills. And you can't say, I want you to be, you got to be a chief of staff, or you got to be a legislative director. That's not what it is. It's not the position. You need to learn these skills. You need to learn leadership skills. You got to learn the skill, a budget is. You got to learn about, it's the skill, it's not the role. And I'm saying that after listening to over 42 different interviews over this weekend, and people don't understand. They don't understand Brown Act. They don't understand the parliamentary procedures. They don't understand open rules. They don't even understand, budgets, how a law is made, legislation. They don't understand these things. And so we are running people for office, and we're supporting people for office who don't have a good, solid foundation in not just civics, but the legislative process. And we are doing them a disservice. So when they get into office, they're easy
They don't know what to do.
to pick.
Right.
And then they're to pick apart, and they're also easy to not run again. And so we don't need to run people to office who can't stay in office. And I say that as somebody on the other side who's in office. And so we need to do a better job of not just informing, but educating. And those are two different things, just so people understand. And not running off of emotions. I don't run off emotions. I don't run off of feelings. I don't care what you feel. And even off of belief, right? Because we do, as Muslims, we do whole lot of my belief. I don't care about your belief. What I care about is facts and data. And facts and data is what is going to get us to these next levels so that we can get in and make change. You can't make change off of what you believe, because what you believe is usually not based on fact in data and what the truth is. And so it's that kind of thing that's going to get us to the next level. And a lot of these young people, the reason they're not participating is because they heard you say something, they heard this one say something, they heard this imam say something, and then they watch what you do. And last thing I'm going to say is, I grew up in Missouri. It's the show me state. Words fade, actions stay. And I grew up watching people, and I watched what you said, and I saw what you did. And if they don't mesh, I'm not paying attention to you. And a lot of younger people, they are the same way. They heard what you said, but they watched what you did. And it didn't gel. So they're like, yeah, I'm cool on you. I'm good on you. I'm good on you. So what you saying, it don't have the kind of flex you think it do. And so that's kind of, when you say meet them where they are, that's what you're talking about. And that's what they're talking about. I'm not, they're not doing it. So and it's not the party necessarily. A lot of them are saying MPP, but a lot of them are like, show me why I should participate. So I think that's what I think they are. This is what I wanted to say, and this is where I think we need to be coming to common ground.
I definitely want to connect with you. I want to really, really talk to you, and I have a lot of, I usually work with college students in Atlanta. And anyway, yeah, I have a lot of insight, and I think I can learn a lot from you about this work with them because they have more power than any demographic that we know in the cities. It's tens of thousands of college students in one city. They
Yes.
can literally send 100 college students to a city council meeting and shut it down.
Yeah.
You get 2 minute speeches, that's 200 minutes of speech. You do
Yeah.
that, you get somebody coming every week, you get 1,000 out there, then they are actually really controlling our cities. And they
Yeah.
don't realize that. So I mean that's a whole nother story for another day. But
Yeah.
it's things like that's where they have power to change their environment and the things that are going on. But anyway,
Absolutely.
Thank
And
you,
I
Alex.
teach
Thank
people.
you.
I teach people that one skill on how to get your point across in
mhm,
120 seconds.
yep,
And so Fleming knows how to get a hold of
Yes,
me. And Fleming, please connect us. And
yes,
we'll
I
do.
mean, we
We'll
can
make
learn
that
from
happen.
each other. We can learn from
We'll
each
make
other.
that happen. Listen,
absolutely.
I want to give our invited guests a chance to talk to more Marvin Muhammad, but I see my brother Abdul Hassan is on, so we're going to give him the first
Well, what about Fareed
opportunity.
Muhammad, Fareed Rahman? I had a question or
You
a
had a
comment
question for
for him.
Fareed?
Yeah, and a comment for him. I
All
wanted
right,
to
then.
say
Fareed,
that um, I think that what you're doing with your sons is great, and don't undervalue that, because number one, you are modeling for them and you're giving them those experiences are life experiences and can possibly ignite or give them a vision of, oh, I think I might want to do that. And so don't underestimate what you have done with your sons. And I would encourage you to continue with that, especially that young one at 8 years old. Um, because you are presenting to them options that they would not necessarily get somewhere else. And the fact that it's coming from you, they can trust the options that you provide for them. And in organizing, it's one thing as far as Brother Alex mentioned it, meet people where they are. There is a tremendous need and opportunity in the Muslim community and the general African American community with people with tech skills that can be utilized in civic engagement projects and political projects. So you um, you have a skill base that is necessary. You know, everyone is not just like in the community. Everyone is not going to be the man. Alhamdulillah for that. Otherwise, we just have lectures and talking and sitting around and very little work being done, which may be part of our problem that we have in our community right now. But people with skills are always needed in all of the different aspects of life. You hear people talk about the four birds and all of this. Well, figure out what bird you want to work in, whether it's in education, whether it's in civic engagement and governance, economic development. Hassan El Ghani, he was a very prominent businessman here in the Oakland area. So you know, to have that opportunity, what you have gone into mentorship, which is so important. These older brothers have modeled that for you, and you are continuing that with your sons and with other youth in the community, probably. And that those are the things that we need. Those are the skills. So civic engagement does not have one face. You know, each one, you know, fit in where you fit in. And so I would encourage you, don't downplay
No,
what,
no,
you know, what
no,
you
I
do.
wouldn't downplay it. I wouldn't downplay. I was
So,
downplaying the fact that not the downplay of my I wouldn't be a part of these things if I didn't love it or have but as far as like I see it just how you said it, being able to find my value in it and follow other people who have, you know, other value that they bring to it so that they can lead in. So I think that that's where that's what I get out of the most. Like I'm not necessarily trying to organize the event but I can be a part of the event. You know, I can bring some people to the event. I can add some exposure. And one thing, like you said, with mentorship, I recently just took this position and I'm working with youth that are in the, you know, juvenile justice system from the age of like 12 to 17. I got like 6 clients now, whatever. And when I go into the court, I have to go into their homes, go with them to court, go into them different things. And you could just and it's just our youth in there. And when I say in the court system, it's only our kids, you
Mhm.
know. So that kind of hits home because I look at the fact that I'm like, these are, I got sons that they, just recently these ages and stuff, and they're not exposed to a lot of things. And then when you do talk to them about opportunities or trying to help them navigate because they haven't graduated high school, they don't know what they want to do. Something has failed somewhere. Home is maybe not as stable, but typically they have a parent in the household that actually loves them and try to get them. But what we're dealing with, um, when it comes down to they have whether it's the school system itself that's not reaching them, but then you have the substances out here is easily accessible to them. They the smoking, the vaping, the all of that stuff. At the time where they are still developing, and then they don't see opportunity. They don't really. So most of the time they would love to have a job. We don't employ them. We don't have a place. I can't if I need to be if I can hire 6 of you, I will hire 6 of you right now. Because I think that at least gives them something constructive, get them off the streets. We used to use sports a lot, and I coach, and that's what Brother Fleming was saying as far as like my involvement in sports. But everybody's not athlete, And then even in that, I have a program where I'm trying to engage with those who want to just understand the whole uh, business of sports, not necessarily just be a player, but everybody's not into sports. And then we have to be working on things that can help these young people, I think, and get them out the house and get them more involved into or exposed into these things. And like I say, maybe early on, by the time I get them now, most of the time they're in some serious trouble, like in terms of, ankle monitors and things like that, charges that, and we work with them in intensive at home and stuff to try to get them to change their thinking so they don't become an adult or 18 years old. They're still not, in my eyes, they're still not an adult at 18, but that by the time they're 18, they're going to treat them like an adult if they still make these behaviors, make these mistakes. So, yeah, we have a lot of work to do. And wherever we can find our way to do it, we'll. I'm open to lend a hand if I got the time.
Inshallah.
Well,
And
for
try to
that counts.
replicate yourself like Brother Fleming is trying to replicate himself through working with you. So replicate yourself with your clients and friends that you may have. Encourage them to volunteer on these kind of programs and whatnot if they have the interest, or find some interest that they may have that the young people can utilize.
Yeah, there should be a juvenile crime prevention council in most communities tied into the court system to give these young people a second chance. It's called Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. It has a host of different organizations that would give students a skill set, and they're required by the court to go there to learn a skill before going out into the broader community. Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. So check to see if there's one available in your location. I want to honor Brother Abdul Hassan and, of course, Brother Marvin Muhammad. Uh, so let's open up the mic for Brother Abdul Hassan. Then we'll go to our Brother Marvin Muhammad from the Lone Star State of Texas again. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Hassan.
Alaikum salam, family. How's everybody? Long time, right?
Yes.
Just doing work, y'all. Just doing work. Brother Fareed, keep doing what you're doing, because what we doing is we passing the mantle to y'all, because y'all got to run it. You and the other brother, where did he go? He left.
He had another meeting to go to.
Y'all are the beast, see, because I done worked with the gangs and all. I done did all of that. Okay, up here in Jersey. You said you came to Newark. We just did the last civics class at Masjid Muhammad Newark yesterday, and my brother Jimmy Small and from Atlantic City Councilman Kaleem Shabazz, he came up, and he said he came up to just listen to see what we were doing up there, um, and it's a county. Another brother, Muslim, he was on the panel, but I'm not. I don't be on the panel. They don't put me on the panel. See, because I don't have that knowledge like Brother Fleming El-Amin. They are. I'm like I'm the I call myself the rebel rouser because I come behind all that other stuff. And I tell like the children, the children were there yesterday, the parents were there yesterday. This is in the masjid, and it was on Zoom also. But I'm a rebel rouser. I don't, if you're not doing nothing, I want you to go somewhere, sit down in the chair, and be quiet. Don't be complaining about stuff. Reason? Because you're not doing anything. And it don't start at the White House either. It starts in your local community because all politics are local. So you have to take care of that first. What you're doing as far as dealing with those young people, well, I was a teacher. I just came out in 2023 after many years of that, and I was teaching special needs. They gave me, I'm gonna use a nice term. They gave me the most at risk. Okay, but I had the behavior problems. When I run into them now in the masjid, and I run into them now at a game. If we were passing out something, and you can go to, and sports was mentioned, you can go to any sporting event, and you can see all of these people. I don't care what sport it is. I was watching Coco Golf last night. I say to tennis, it doesn't matter. You can go to any sporting event, and the people are there. Okay, and you see our young people up here. They have in New Jersey they have a lot of programs for them as far as that's concerned, but the civics isn't a thing with them. They people say, and I jump on with Reverend Sharpton on Sunday mornings, and have been on quite a bit. But they know who it is when I come on. I just say Abdul from New Jersey. I don't get into I'm on the Muslim League of Voters. I'm actually the chairman of the Muslim League of Voters, but it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of work to be done because our people they don't understand. And I think it was Sister Dr. Cheryl Sudduth. I think it was you. Correct me if I'm wrong. That said, like people, they don't understand what is going on. They don't know what's going on, and what they do when we're out and we do the voter education and we do voter registration after that. Okay, what they do is they won't tell me. I don't know why, but they'll tell my brother, who is the politician. They'll tell Jimmy I'm not in the politics. I'm not in the politics. And I hear him say it, right? And I just look at him and, I'm not in the politics. Newark's a rough area. So it's all good with me too, because we grew up here. So ain't no thing. So he's a retired teacher from Newark. I'm a retired teacher next city over in East Orange. So we both also coach sports. Okay. And we played sports. So all of that stuff, we're trying to bring them in. And, it's hard because if people aren't listening to them, and everybody's I'm on a lot of committees, a lot of Zooms, and people said, man, we got to get the young people. We got to get the young people. Somebody on here said maybe twice, we have to meet them where they are. Well, what we do is matter of fact, before I came on, I was making some appointments to go into some of the high schools in the area, because on September 15th is National Voter Registration Day, and the 18th of September is National Muslim Registration Day. So we're getting it ready, and I had to give the people some dates. I said, take one, because first come, first serve. And like I said, when I say I'm the rebel rouser, because I come on and ask them, like, who, it's like this. Who likes to eat? Everybody raises their hand. I said, okay, who likes to, did everybody ever read a menu? Everybody raised their hand. I'm talking about the young folk. okay? The older folks too, but I'm talking to the young folk. I said, now, would you like to help make that menu? And in the high schools, they start screaming before I can even finish. Or would you like to be at the table to help make the menu? Or would you like to just be? I said, because if not, they'll put you on the menu. I said, it'd be something you don't eat, or is it something that you want? I said, so we need y'all. We need y'all to, when we finish in here with this educational piece, we need you when we go in the hallway out there to register to vote. But we don't need you to just register and vote. We need you after you register to get out and vote. Like you said, the day that you were in Newark, and the Newark is 16 years old, they can register, man, and they, you know, and they can do the vote, you know, especially for school board, and the data showed is very low. Now, what do you do about that? Like I've already said to in many meetings, I've said up here, I said that means we need more support from within the school. We coming in and leaving is one thing, but we need some people in the school to, you know, to follow us and follow them and remind them that that's what's going on. And it's not happening yet. So we need people like you. Like Sister said, you have skill set with that, with technology. Technology is what they're all about. They're all about. So thank you for, you know, those few minutes.
Brother Hassan, thank you very much. I also was in the school system for a long time, but I found this to be true. Coaches have a long influence on kids.
Yes.
I would get coaches involved in what I was trying to do in terms of registering people to vote, etc. The kids on high school now, that's why I worked there for the most part. They would listen to the coach, and they would respect the coach, and the coach I know how to get them motivated. So that's another avenue we can use in high school setting to get those coaches involved. In fact, one of my former students is now the head coach at SSU. They're playing in Norfolk, Virginia against their first opponent, Tory Woodbury. And he's been, Mr. L, when you coming to my games? I said, man, I won't get there. I'm going to surprise him this weekend, inshallah. And just show up and tell him, you know, I'm here now. Know what you got to say. But let's give our brother Marvin Muhammad a chance to make a few more comments. Our invited guests all the way from the Lone Star State of Texas, and our second convener for the American Coalition for Good Government, Brother Marvin.
Assalamu alaikum. The first thing I want to do is thank y'all for this opportunity to be on this podcast with you. I'm thankful to Allah, and I'm grateful for the consistency that we've shown in this struggle. And as you know, the struggle is a human struggle, but we have our own particular area that we need to focus on. And I want to share something with you why we have to look at all avenues in this thing called civic engagement. I had the opportunity to work 6 years as a Muslim chaplain in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. The politics are there. One of the things that the state of Texas was saying was that they actually have a even split between African American, Hispanic, and Caucasians. They said that the population was 33, 33, 33. This is why you have to be aware, because African Americans are only 12% as far as population in the state of Texas. So that means that all of us on this call right now, we almost are 3 times more likely to go to the penitentiary than anyone else. That's so right. We have to look at that, at the data. We have to look at the information, and we have to be able to articulate it and to build on it. Now, one of the other things that I had looked at, it is still civic engagement, because we talked about the children and what happened to the children. I looked at that number, that 33. It's over 100,000 inmates in Texas. Texas got at least 100 prisons. You know, I looked at that, and so I came up with a number. I can't recite them right off, but I do have that information. But it turns out that when I took that information on the number of people incarcerated, I looked at Houston, and I looked at 12 historically African American dominant neighborhoods. And I came out with a figure of those 12 neighborhoods, just in Houston, there are at least 300 men. I'm not going to mention the women. There are at least 300 men missing from each community. So that means that our communities have become ghost towns. And the missing is not just for a night or two. Sometimes it's 5 years, sometimes it's 10 years, sometimes it's 20 years, sometimes it's 30 years. And I actually know a brother who did 45 years straight. Sometimes it's 45 years. So when we go back and we look at our community and we see what's lacking, then we have to understand we have to address that. To me, that's the civic engagement. One sister Amatullah Alaji-Sabrie, may Allah be pleased with her and grant her paradise. We were talking about when we wrote the political platform, Fleming, I don't know if you remember, she was talking about that what we need to do, we have all these problems, but we're not talking about educating parents to be parents or how to be parents, because that cycle is there. This is civic engagement and it's political, you know. And I'm gonna say this. I mean, yeah, this was so great. I went back to when I was a little boy on this one. In Texas, they used to have the poll tax law. I'm sure y'all familiar with that. In Texas, you couldn't vote unless you owned property. So you know what that meant. Many of us couldn't vote. Well, the only person in my family, this was the early 60s, so I may have been 8, 9, 10 years old, that could vote was my grandmother, because she had some property in another part of Texas. And I remember when she would get ready to go vote, she would dress up. She had her black pan leather purse. She put it on her shoulder. And as she'd be walking to the door, my uncles, my father, and my mother, they all would be giving her advice on how to vote. And she would go and she would vote, you know, and she did it every year. And I remember it. But when I look at now that we don't have that particular obstacle, even though they're doing things to try to make it harder for us, is that we really have to engage ourselves in our communities, and we really have to push it. When I turned 18, I went and registered for the draft, and then I went and registered to vote. I did both of those, okay? But the thing about it is we got to get that engagement going. We have to speak. We have to create those avenues, and we have to deal with the youngsters. I don't like this idea. If anybody is working with it, I'm not trying to offend you, but they used to have this thing about the penitentiary pipeline. I didn't like it. And the reason I didn't like it is that if you know that there's a community of people in the school that have the potential to start or begin going to the penitentiary in the 5th grade, then how come you're not doing something about it? Mm-hmm. Why are you just making a presentation, as one of the sisters said, why are you just making a presentation and making it sound good, and that's it? Right. So we have to continue to work. We have to take some of the strategies that we use. We have to modernize them, yes, because that's an evolution. But at the same time, we have to truly understand where we came from in our history, and we have to understand where do we want to go, you know, because many of the times we don't do things is because we don't have support, you know. And I looked at something one time, and it's not all cases, but I looked at some of the African-American women that have excelled in our in this country, in America. And when I look at them, I found one thing that they had in their life that made them look good. Not everybody, but I think the majority, they had a father in their life. So we have a lot of work to do. And it is civic engagement. It is politically orientated. You know, my children, they all voted. When Obama ran for the first time in the Democratic primary, everybody in my family voted for Obama to run for president, except for one of my daughters. She voted for Hillary Clinton. And so I forgave her, you know. But the point I'm trying to make is let's look at what we're doing. What y'all are doing individually, what y'all are doing collectively is great. But we got to find ways to do things. And I know y'all heard this story before, but when I look back and I think about my homeboys, I think out of maybe 30, 40 of us who used to click together, as they say, I think there's only maybe 3 or 4 of us that are living. But of that 3 or 4, there may be 2 or 3 more who have passed, but didn't go the penitentiary route or the dope route as a user. And this is in a city like El Paso, Texas, where you don't have a lot of African Americans. That was still on them. We got to develop things. I'm not, you know, I've seen people try to rehabilitate people from that, but we have to habilitate first. We have to build some things. So let's as Brother Fleming says, let's stay engaged. Let's get engaged and let's do these things. And it's the last thing. Brother Hassan, it's good to see you, man. This brother called me one day. He got my phone number for Jim and gave me an assignment. Brother, I need you to do this, and that. I took care of it, didn't I? All right. So thank y'all very much. And may Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you, Brother Marvin.
Yeah, I'd like to ask Brother Marvin. I want to get his thoughts on something, a question that I have. Well, I guess it's a two-parter. You're in El Paso.
I grew up in El Paso.
You grew up in El Paso.
I live in Houston now.
Oh, you live in Houston. I thought Houston was somewhere. Okay. So are African Americans in Houston, or maybe even Dallas, Fort Worth, are they so, how are they dealing or not dealing with Abbott as a governor, and now the possibility of Ken Paxton as a senator? I mean, is there interfaith movement against this kind of morally corrupt leadership, or what?
Yeah, what they've done in Texas, Abbott. When Abbott first ran, he ran as if he was a moderate.
Mm-hmm.
So they got a lot of people. And then you had the Republican Party. You got to go back. We had I know one of the Bushes had been the governor. I think Junior had been the governor, and they brought on a whole bunch of African Americans. And so you have a lot of well-off African Americans in Houston. You know, it's two of the easiest thing to do in Houston, in my opinion, is to get a house and get a car. You can do that, and you can't do that in a lot of places. But that Baptist, and I hate to just bring out a group, but that particular group in the South, they've hooked into Abbott. And Abbott is basing things on that. He said some things in his the other day on TV, and he was talking about I can't remember everything, but I know the thing he ended it with. He said, "And I stood up against boys being able to play for girls," you know. And then he didn't say it, but he suggested it was immoral. So lots of this Christian thing is there. Many of the African Americans that are here and they go to churches, they're all involved, but it's not. It's typical. I just put it to you that way. It's typical that you find anywhere in the country. You know, it's not. There's not a lot of you know, we have politicians and that type of things like that, but there's not a lot of grassroots efforts, and it has to do with the history, because they had African American politicians in their pocket, meaning the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s, and those type of things. So then you had that new wave that came that were a little bit more rebellious, and so things started to change. And they did some things, but to make it I don't think we were where we're supposed to be. The only time I really saw us come out en masse is when President Obama ran for president. And what I did was I did the early voting, and I went around the city to the African American neighborhoods looking at the voting places, and we showed up. You know, brothers were there with their do-rags on, sisters were there with their muumuus on. You know, cats that sag, they were sagging, yeah, but they was in line to vote. But the second time around, there were fewer people. And then as Hillary learned, there were less people. And as Biden knew and tried to make a change, he tried to bring in more. So whatever the situation is around America, it's there. And then we've had African Americans in Texas. There was a guy named Wesley Hunt. He was a representative in the House of Representatives, and he was a Republican. You know, he ran for senator also against Paxton in their primary. But this man was dark complected, had a built like a running back or a linebacker. And when he had his commercial, now I'm just trying to show you the mindset when I said that, he had chains on his wrists. He said, "My family came here as slaves," and he broke them. And then they showed him a picture of his mixed children, his white wife. And you can do what you want. I hope y'all get the gist of what I'm trying to say. Yes. You have a lot of that. As a matter of fact, the Republicans, they tried when I was in college in the late 70s. They came down to us. We had our Balalian Student Coalition. They came down to our coalition and they tried to recruit us. You know, luckily I had something to tell them, which was basically, I'm looking for the right person for the job. Nothing against any political party or anything like that. So it's kind of hard because Abbott he has a good grip on Texas. And when you look at Texas, you have counties that have like 10,000 people in it. I'm serious. That's it. My neighborhood has more people than that. And these are the people that are supposed to be keeping those Republicans in office. And I say those Republicans, And all I can say about the whole thing is, we need to get more engaged. There are a whole lot of things we need to do. Inshallah, at the Community Leadership Development Conference, the brother to come, hopefully he'll come, Yusuf Benson. He's very, very engaged. We do have a sister who's running for the county judge position, who's a Muslim and of African descent, African American, who's doing that. But it's so much work that we have to do that when you get to the common people, the African Americans, and y'all heard what happened to the Mexican guy that got shot by ICE down here.
Yeah.
And I was kind of disappointed because the people didn't come out. Their community, I should say, didn't come out the way it should have came out. You get 100, 200, maybe 1,000 people, and that was it. And it's a very, very serious issue. So there's a lot of fear there. So we have a lot of work to do in Houston and in Texas, and we have to begin to explain what power is. Because in Houston, believe it or not, if you can get 2,000 people to vote the same way in the city council race, your person will probably win. Trust me. That's how many people, and it may be a little bit more than that, but it's not like 4 million people in Houston, and the council elections is not that, And the way they did my friend Al Green, I'm sure you heard about that. When they made that particular position, because it's a new position, it was the intent was to get a Mexican American in there. But Judge Green was a very popular person, so he ran and he won the position. And so they did the dirty politics, and they rearranged everything, and they let Barbara Jordan's district remain, and they didn't touch that. But what they did was they extended it to include Judge Green's home address. That was the whole intent of that particular phase of gerrymandering, was to get him, because he's the one that pushed the impeachment of the president both times.
Right.
So it's the same as anything else, and we got people that are involved. And one thing that I'm hoping, and Brother Hassan kind of mentioned it, a lot of times when we do politics, especially this day and time, everything is vanilla. Everything is vanilla. Everybody's trying to sound politically correct. And so we just have to do some things that I would like to see done here and around the country, is for us to be able to talk to people on a nationwide basis and teach them and train them and encourage them to get involved in doing things from where they sit at, from their position, and go from there. Because without educating the common man or the common person, we don't have anything. And that's part of the reasons why I spoke about my grandmother and her opportunity to vote, and how they gave that opportunity to her. But at the same time that they did it, they X'd out many Mexicans in Texas. They X'd out many Caucasian women, because 9 out of 10 times during those days, and maybe even today, the owner of the property was the man. So even though there was some ownership there, that person couldn't vote. So we have to look at it historically. We have to look at where we're at right now. And we have to encourage people to continue to struggle. I'm glad that our Dr. Cheryl Sudduth, aka Holly Berry, has the enthusiasm that she had. I was impressed with Brother Rahman and Brother Mitchell, and the sister, the iPod sister, I can't remember her name, but I was with them. We got to get down there. We got to get in the nitty gritty. But at the same time, we have to begin to speak to one another. Just like many of y'all, I started when I was about 16 years old. We developed a group called the Black Youth Coalition in my hometown, El Paso. And we affiliated ourselves with the Black Liberation Front. And the FBI investigated me. And who I know is because everybody they went to called my mother and told her what they said. So we had that kind of communication. They tell the children to stop playing with me and anything like that. My mother said that everyone called us said that they told the FBI, ain't nothing wrong with that boy, leave him alone. You know, that type of thing. And so we went on and we did some things. And we got to begin there. We got to see how they're going to do it. And I think I'm living proof that when you go to our public schools, you don't have to do good to be successful. You're looking at a person that got expelled from public schools, from a public school. There was only 2 school districts in my neighborhood. I'm going back to the beginning. Things that can change. And you're looking at someone who really didn't like school, but has at least 2 degrees and barely got out of college. My incentive was I didn't want to barely got out of high school. I didn't want to disappoint my mother and my father because they pushed us to do that. So if you can have a person do that, and then we got all the challenges they have now, then we have to get into it. So I hope I said a lot. I hope I answered your question or at least touched on it. Because in Houston, Houston is a good city. And I'll say this about Houston and Texas. The reason we don't have the activity that we should have, as far as grassroots are concerned, is because Texas has always been a state that has been able to have its Black population employed. So when
what was the last word you said?
Employed, to have them employed,
employed. Okay.
You can get a job in Texas. You can start a business in Texas. It's up to you to do whatever you're going to do with it. But if you have that, the hunger to do certain things isn't that great.
Okay.
And so we do that. And one of the jobs I had, and I was working for the welfare office, and I had a director's position. So they were bringing in this thing called welfare to work.
Right.
And what they did, and this is it for them. This is the last time I'm gonna say it. This is it. And what they did, they had a brand new mall that was built about 20, 30 miles outside of Houston. So what they did was they went into the wards that are going through gentrification now, that are suffering from all those men who are in the penitentiary now, the ghost towns. And they hired those people and gave them those jobs. So what happened was more people left the traditional areas, the 3rd ward, the 4th ward, and the 5th ward, and they went out there and they got their job. But in one of the meetings I was there, and they asked me, it was something I like to say. I said, well, if we really want to address the problem, rather than going from welfare to work, we need to go from welfare to business. That way, those communities will be able to sustain themselves. And believe it or not, nobody wanted to hear that. So it's some work we have to do, and it's some work they have to do, and this mindset, Sister Sudduth says she's from Missouri, and show me state. I'm from Texas, and they say everything is big in Texas, and I just want y'all to know, politically, we got some big liars. We got some great big liars. So even the line in Texas is better. It's bigger. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Marvin. Before you leave, Marvin, there's a recent incident in Texas I got informed about, and that is having every public school post on the wall the 10 Commandments. And I'm a part of the Interfaith Board for the Americans United, and so we sent some attorneys down, etc. But we lost the case. Anyway, what's been a response at all to that situation in the public school setting? Or has there been any response to that from the general community, our community specifically?
They haven't said it's been some people, but it hasn't been too much of a big response to it, because this is one of the tail ends of the Bible Belt. I didn't mean to say Bible. I meant to say Bible Belt earlier. Mm-hmm. And the thing that amazes me about that, Fleming, is this: if you look at the politicians that are in office in Texas, especially the Republicans, they are the same ones that got rid of a lot of different things. They're the same ones that opened it up that way. They're the same ones. They talking about the boys participating in girls' sports. They were in office and they were the ones that opened that thing up. So it's a big contradiction or hypocrisy in Texas. But I think the thing that we have to do, and I think we're the better people that can do it, is that we have to. There's a good thing too. You know, there's a hadith that a brother told me when I went through one hurricanes in Texas, and the hadith said when the storm would come, the prophet would ask to be protected, but from the harm that was coming, but to bless when you went through the storm. And then after the storm was gone, it was said to bless us and save us from the harm that came, but also bless us with the good that came. So when I look at that particular thing, I don't support the idea because I know what these people are trying to do. Okay, so don't get me wrong, but I see a good. I see a good, and the good is we have to stand up, we have to fight, and we have to have a voice, and we have to issue the challenges, you know, and we have to make sure that they're clear, they're precise, and that it's something that can have an impact on people going down the road. Because one thing that happens, especially with African American people, it isn't for them, but they're going to be hollering about it. You know, they're going to have one day come to come to church moments or whatever the deal is. And I'm not, you know, y'all know what I'm talking about. So that thing hasn't really gone anywhere. There's a couple of school districts that are fighting it and doing it. But remember, a few years ago, Texas was the same state that the government in Texas made people take down. It was some school or some place that had a copy of the what's that thing they do of the 10 Commandments, and they said you can't do that. Now we got the same people coming back and saying you need to do it. So it's something that's great. But I focus on where I'm at, and I focus on my community. It doesn't mean I don't get with other people to do things, but you said something to me last week that was good, and that was you talked about going to the Capitol and how you were engaged, but when the young folks came, you had gotten a responsibility to teach them how to talk when they went. And I just think that's marvelous. We have to start doing some things like that.
Thank you again, Brother Marvin. Did everyone get a chance? I see Ishmael. He don't have his hand raised, though. Ishmael, we haven't heard your voice today. Brother Ishmael, you want to make a few comments? Because the hour is getting late, and we don't want to abuse anyone's time when it comes to the hour at hand. We're a little bit over time now. Brother Ishmael?
No, sir. Thank you. I'm enjoying the program. I'm here in Dallas, Texas. So I agree with my brother talking about Houston and Texas. So I agree with everything.
This is okay, ma'am. Ishmael, okay?
Yes, alhamdulillah. All right, for my fellow co-hosts, let's give you a chance to make any closing remarks you'd like to make before we wrap things up, or questions you might want to raise.
I do.
Yes, here we go.
Okay. Couple things. There's this couple things about it. First of all, about the 10 Commandments. I just want to say, listen. And because I was asked this question during somebody asked me this question mainly because you know they will know I'm Muslim, and I said this, and I know it usually catches people off guard. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care, and I say that because I say keep the main thing the main thing. Focus on the main thing. All of that is distraction. It's distraction from what we need to be focused on. What we need to be focused on, okay, the boys playing girls sports, all of that is distraction. It's distraction. Because while they got you focused on that, they're robbing the bank. While they got you focused on that, they're doing the gerrymandering and they're stealing seats. While they got you focused on that, they're stealing jobs. We still got 350,000 Black women out of jobs. So focus on the main thing. And we got to figure out what the main thing is, right? I just remember my grandmother's words that fear don't pay no bills and worry don't move no mountains. The storm is gonna come and it's gonna go. The moon is gonna go down and the sun gonna rise in the morning. Morning gotta go. Night gotta go, and the morning gotta come in the morning. So we gotta figure out what is it we want to concentrate on. And so I was thinking about this, and I was writing while you guys were talking. I told you I'm a writer. So I was writing while you guys were talking, and I was thinking about last week we talked about education. So we had on our education experts. We had on my friend from the school board, another fellow elected. And so I wanted to just go there with you this morning just to say this. What a kindergartner teaches us about being ready. So I'm going to take a Fleming 2 minutes.
30 seconds.
No, I don't like your 30 seconds. I'm gonna take
2 minutes. Take the whole 2 minutes.
So this is what a kindergartner teaches us about being ready. And it's just lessons about preparation, adaptability, and community leadership. So all across the country right now, we got little ones preparing ahead to their first day of school, stepping into this year. They don't know what they're going to know and what they're going to learn and how they're going to grow. And the first day we know is like this culmination of this single moment. They got the new clothes, the backpack, the excitement, and they're probably really nervous. And they're nervous, their parents are nervous, and maybe the grandparents and everybody else going to this first day with them, right? But we know that what went into that first day is weeks and months and a whole summer of preparation that makes that moment possible. And so your parents, you've gathered supplies, you've read all the school material and the information, you've reviewed the policies, you've worked out all the transportation and the daily logistics, and you've prepared them for the routine ahead. You've made sure they went to bed early before the summer starts, and no more late nights, no more eating any of that food that's gonna keep them up at night. No more drinking late at night that's gonna get you up in the morning. And now you got to get up, and here's the routine. And no, mommy can't stay with you all day. And no, you got to take a nap and lay on that little mat during the daytime. All the routine change. And the nanas and the tias and the tios and the primos, cousins, for those who don't speak Spanish. Everybody added their own little supportive efforts, and you're giving them the hugs and the kisses and the journals and the markers and the stuffies and the snacks. And you put all of that together and you take them to school. And each step is going to give that young student what they need to have really strong footing as they go through that school door to start the year. But there's no guarantee that every day is going to go according to plan, because there's going to be new challenges that arise. The schedule is going to change. There's going to have to be some adaptability when it's necessary. But along the way, there's going to be meaningful differences between entering this really important season unprepared and entering it with information and support and a plan. And the same is true for our communities. The same is true for being a leader. So just like our families who are settling into this new school year routines, whether it's kindergarten or elementary school, middle school transitions, or high school or college transitions, the same is true for our communities as we're moving into another important election season. Except this is a moment for leaders, not only for candidates and elected officials, but for everyone who holds influence in a family, a workplace, an organization, or a neighborhood. We have to assess our community's readiness for this moment. Do people know the important election dates, when and how to register to vote? Do they know where to find accurate, nonpartisan information? Are we holding community forums and conversations about how to organize ourselves? It's one thing to do that in this format where we're preaching to the choir, so to speak. But are we listening to our constituents as carefully as we are speaking to them? And then who's still missing from the conversation? A strong electorate is an informed electorate. And informing others, that in itself is an act of leadership. Community readiness doesn't happen by chance. Community readiness does not happen through a social media post or an announcement or a mailer or a billboard. It is built. And it is built through measured, repeated steps. It is built through sharing verified information, through explaining processes, through answering questions over and over and over again. It is creating opportunities for conversation. It is making certain that people know how and where to participate. Just as we are preparing a child for school involves more than buying supplies or snacks for lunch, preparing a community for an election involves more than reminding people to register and to vote. It requires attention and information, outreach, and the willingness to adapt when people need something different from us. So this week, to wrap this all up, I invite us to simply conduct a community readiness assessment, to ask a few people what they know about the upcoming election and what information they may still need. Their answers will reveal where our leadership, individually and collectively, is needed the most. Now, the outcome is not guaranteed, but we do know that what it will tell us is that we will have more people entered into this important season informed, prepared, and ready to use their voices. Because our communities deserve leaders who are prepared not only to run for office, but to lead differently in the way that they need us the most. Es todo.
Let's Gracias, Tamika. Sister Amatullah Alaji.
Yes.
Closing comments.
Yeah, I just I see the benefit too also for us not to just work in the Muslim silo. I think you're a good example of that, Brother Fleming, in terms of the interfaith work is important, and to build bridges between religious communities, but also to get the members of every religious community involved in this democratic project, as they call it. And I think that's an important task for us to do in each of our local areas, and a way for us to reap benefits as far as combating the campaign. I think I saw somewhere where there are 230 elected Muslim officials across the country thus far. And was it the governor of Oklahoma or somewhere? Had made some kind of statement in terms of these people or Muslim communities in general, or those Muslims who are striving for political office, need to come under investigation. And you had other elected officials like I know we talked positively about coaches previously in this program. But Tommy Tuberville certainly has to be the worst presentation of a coach in our history. For one thing, he had a speech recently and he talked about how this was a Christian nation. And I said to myself, has this man even read the Constitution of the United States? I mean, I'm not saying you memorize every, every amendment and every the preamble, and every part of the Constitution. But it's clearly stated there is no what is the word? There is no
religious tests.
No religious test, but there's no preference of one religion over the other.
Oh, yes.
Nowhere in the Constitution does it say this is a Christian nation.
No.
All of the founders, there weren't Muslim founders of the Constitution. We know we draw the connection between the Quran and the Constitution and all of that. But if I'm just John Q. Public and I have no knowledge of that connection, I still can't come to the conclusion that this is a Christian country. And this is what you hear so many people who respond to the fear that the enemies in this government and those who want to keep people oppressed will keep on, getting these little Islamophobic talking points and prompts that they get out there, and you get this person repeating it, and you get these elected officials repeating it. And I think maybe what we should see from that is that when we see elected officials like that who seem like they have no knowledge of what this country was founded on, reflect what is going on in their home state or their home district, or but that's getting so tired, and I just think that we as believers, we have to take a more engaged, aggressive, proactive, whatever word you want to use to indicate that we're making motion and taking concrete steps in forming alliances where we can at least show people a live model that is different from the narrative that they're constantly fed by these ignorant people who have been elected to these offices, on the federal level especially. And by working with people of different faith, and they come to know us separate, perhaps this will help them to overcome the dissonance that has to be established in their mind. Like, if I know Abdul, if I know Marvin, if I know Fleming, and I'm working with them in Lift Every Vote or some initiative that you have in New Jersey or in Texas, and the person that I'm working side by side does not match the narrative that the media and these APAC paid off and the ignorant politicians that currently, and morally corrupt, that's the main thing, morally corrupt politicians that have positions now. I think that's the only way that we're going to really have a significant impact and protect our community against these microaggressions. Some of them aren't even microaggressions, but Islamophobic narratives that stay out there in the community. Waja Ali, he was substituting for Joy Reid. I guess it was yesterday or maybe another day. I just saw it yesterday. And the theme that he had for the program was the Muslims are coming, the Muslims are coming. And that's just, I don't know if that was a positive way he should have framed it, but he had Aisha Wahab, Dr. Aisha Wahab, which we had years ago on this program, who is the state rep who's running for congressperson. And he had a woman, I can't think of her last name right now, but she's a journalist and policy analyst. He had all Muslims on his program. He started off with Mehdi Hassan. Then he had he had this guy that they tried to use his affiliation with El Said. Hassan Piker, I had never seen him. I didn't know who, I've heard talk about him, but I'd never actually seen him speak. He had him on. I think that was good, having him on to clarify some of the points and to push back against the effort. And he had against the brother becoming, inshallah, if it's Allah's will, the first Muslim senator. And he had also Rashida Tlaib. And so he had a good lineup of people. I think his title of the program may have put some people, it may have just added more fire that I'm getting a call to come in, I'm sorry. But I just think that we have to do more interfaith work as part of our civic engagement so that people will get to know us enough to combat the real strong effort that is being funded by APAC and others against Muslims. And our right, someone said it, Marvin said it, Imam Muhammad said, I am an owner in this country. I got a little share, but I have an ownership in this country. And when we have had African Americans to die from the Revolutionary War until this Iran war, we have a right to hold any office that we want. And we have to feel that, we have to believe it, we have to know it, and we have to act on it and not let any of this stuff that they send to, that they put out there in the public to insult to insult the law really by denying the revelation, because we don't deny the prophets, and to insult the prophet and to insult us and to try and make it seem like the Muslims have been the worst people that have lived on this earth. This country is 250 years old. We've had over 25 wars in 250 years. That's a war every 10 years. Some kind of conflict, people dying. And so that's the last thing I want to say. Let's get involved with the people in our community. If you can't find an interfaith organization, there's these legacy organizations. Maybe you can make some headway with them. I don't have the personality to struggle with them, like the NACP and Urban League, maybe, but the brother said he calls into Al Sharpton. I got to give it to you. You got a strong constitution, but we gotta come out of our silo. We weren't in our silos in the Nation of Islam. We have to come out of our silos because number one, people in our own community, could be people in your own family, don't know the difference between us and the Nation of Islam, even though we may be former members of the Nation of Islam. They don't know that we made a transition. And what is that transition about? So that's it. That's for me. I'd like to thank the excellent lineup, Brother Fareed Rahman, Brother Alex Mitchell, and Sister Carrie Wiggins, Brother Marvin Muhammad, excellent information, and Brother Abdul always shares good information. So I pray Allah that people will get a chance to see this broadcast.
We got Brother Abdul has raised his hand again. I just want to take 30 seconds, but let's go to Brother Abdul Hassan first, and then I'll do my 30 seconds. Yes, sir.
Just wanted to say, everything that Sis is saying is true. We're part of the Muslim League of Voters in Jersey. We're part of a couple of interfaith committees, Newark Interfaith Alliance with Councilwoman at Law Reverend Roundtree. We've been on there. We're representing the Muslim, and then with New Jersey Faith Allies, Christian, Muslim, Jew. We're fighting for reparations here and a reparations task force in the state of New Jersey. And you're right. People don't know, right? In our own families, they don't know what is the difference with us, what is the difference with the nation. And if we don't educate them, but I do want to ask this, because I know I have to get off. Joanne Reed, Roland Martin, and them. Listen, y'all have to tell me. My wife watches all that stuff. Okay, I be out and about, or I'm on a Zoom somewhere. But do they bring Muslim that look like us on their shows? I'm asking because I know somebody here may know, but the times I've seen it, I don't see them. I don't see them doing that.
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
I haven't. Joy has more connection with Muslims like Mahdi Hassan.
yeah.
They may be citizens now, or they are second or third generation, but I haven't seen. Which doesn't mean that they haven't. I haven't seen it on her program. Roland Martin. He had a young brother that I thought, was it his program? That was Muslim. He was the one that did the culture thing. His name was Faraj or something like that. He had a regular program that he had, and I think he was from Atlanta. So in my mind, I thought he may have been a Muslim, but he never represented himself as. And to be honest with you, Roland, I haven't looked at when you first started, I looked at it more frequently than I do now.
I
Some,
just, yeah, I just asked because the times I've been home and my wife was watching them or whatever, or I might be listening and not watching, but she's watching. And I told her, I said that, you know what? I said, how come they don't ever bring, even on the,
well, I think we have to be, I hate to interrupt you, but
no, it's okay.
we got to be willing to be out there in the first place. I mean, we have to be qualified. That's one thing. I'd rather for them not to see us than for us to get somebody to get up there and
Right.
just, they're
It's
shooting from their hip, they off the top of their head, and
No,
and may not take them.
I
So
understand, but we have people like right here.
yeah, it's
but
plenty of us
yeah,
There's plenty
qualified.
of us. That's all I'm saying.
It's
And
no,
plenty
and
of
no,
us
no.
qualified. We're
and
just
what?
not.
I'm not saying that there are not plenty of us qualified, but are
Yeah,
those of us who are qualified, are we in the circles to get on those programs?
I think we are. We
well,
just not. We just not
So,
political. We just don't do respectability politics.
that's
That's
why
what it is.
when I call
I don't
into
know that.
Sharpton's, when I call in the Reverend Sharpton show, I'm Abdul from New Jersey. I said
Yeah,
that before.
yeah.
Um, I'm calling in because the things that he wants to talk about or is talking about
Hmm.
is a national audience.
Hmm.
Yes,
I call in because I can answer some of those and give
right,
information out
right,
using that as a platform. And
right.
he's never pushed me. He's always backed me up,
Hmm.
with what I said. I wish we had more Abduls and
Right.
and more of us that was
Right.
calling in. I'm like,
So then maybe
and then the Muslims up here, they text me, they call me in the non-Muslim that, well, I know that was you, wasn't that you? Man, you did a good job. Well, but where y'all at?
yeah, well, so that's the thing. So then
I
maybe
need an
we need to.
army.
So the Community Development and Leadership Conference that Emmanuel Marvin mentioned that is going to happen October 30th to November 1st in Roanoke, I believe, Virginia.
Norfolk, Norfolk.
Um, Maybe we have to identify people who are qualified, and I'm going to stick with we need to identify people who are qualified to call in to these programs or to make comments or to be promoted. We have to find out who are the producers of these. It's not as hard, probably, as the legacy media, but we have to encourage the people who are qualified to you know, into those arenas so that we can have that presence in these different circles. But you got to be in the circle. People have to know about you and trust you that when you get on their show, that you're not going to be a nut, you know. And they don't want their show they don't want their show to be labeled as a platform for terrorists because
No, it's
Abdul
not.
from New Jersey,
Abdul from New
so
Jersey can answer. Like I said, I'm
I
able
said,
to
I
answer.
believe you, and I'm comfortable with you doing it. That's
Yeah,
why I said you do it. But
but
you got to replicate yourself. So that's your assignment
well, that's why I said
for the end of
to
the
our
year.
brother.
Replicate.
Yes,
Get
ma'am. I
get
said
four or five more Abduls.
I
Brother
said,
Marvin, I'm giving him his assignment now. You got
okay.
4 or 5
Yes,
more
I
Abduls
take
from
them.
New
I
Jersey.
take them
Thank
from you,
you.
sis.
And
It's
everybody that comes on to National Action Network, identify yourself as Abdul 2 from New Jersey, Abdul 3 from New Jersey. They'll say,
amazing.
"Oh, this is duplicity."
Remember the movie
Inshallah.
Malcolm X? At the very end of it, it says, "I am Malcolm X.
I
I
am
am
Malcolm
Malcolm
X.
X."
I am
I went through
Malcolm
the
X.
whole
I am
series.
Malcolm X.
You remember that
Yeah, I am
movie?
Malcolm X. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
listen, let me. I know I have a 4 o'clock meeting, brothers and sisters. I got to be at because it's dealing with a very important issue. But I
Mhm.
wanted to share another faith experience we had Friday evening here. Lift Every Voice was invited to the synagogue to make a presentation. Progressive synagogue. The rabbi and I have been friends for a long time, but he had his researchers from Wake Forest University on the panel. He had me, um, Linda Sutton, Fred Lewis, a young lady who represents Forsyth Strong, Megan something. But you wouldn't believe what they asked me to present on. Now, this is voter education participation charge. They wanted me to discuss the voting rights that's common to both Jews, Christians, and Muslims from a scriptural perspective. I said, why are you, because you always talk about Abrahamic faiths, but I put something together, and had them do a few exercises because I don't just talk when I go to a workshop. You got to get engaged on some level so you can remember some things. But the rabbi came to me and said, Brother Fleming, can you come back and just speak sometime when we have workshops? And I said, well, God willing, we can come back. The point I'm making is that our existence in the community is our dawah. And if people see you in the community, that's the best dawah we can have. And we always promote interfaith necessities around here. We got to work with each other. Those four walls of the masjid will not do it. You got to be in the community. Don't take it the wrong way. That's your center. You got to be involved in the community to really make an impact, inshallah. But this man, you got 2 minutes, so then we got to wrap it up.
Yes, sir. You know, I don't ever speak 2 minutes. It's way less than that. So I just got a request. We dwelled into what a democratic socialist is, because that's becoming very popular. Have we unpacked that at all?
Yeah.
We have?
Well, I have. I don't know about these other people. But yeah.
So my question
is,
we have a leader that said he was an Islamic socialist. So I just wanted one day we can talk about what's the difference between a democratic socialist and an Islamic socialist. That's my request.
Sounds like another program.
Yeah, definitely. But
Thank you.
You say we have a leader. You're talking about in the Muslim community, or you talking?
Yeah, Imam Warfdin Muhammad said he was an Islamic socialist. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Okay, so put his name out there.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, listen, again, let me thank everyone for participating today. Allah's blessings with a very lively discussion. I hope we learn from each other, because we do have, 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We should listen twice as much as we talk. But in the theme of our ACGG representation for the whole year, that theme being honor our past to protect our future, I usually close out with the last surah in the Holy Quran in our programs. I want to go back a little bit further this time with a prayer that we all learned at the very beginning of our Islamic journey. And I'm sure some of you will remember this prayer, inshallah. If you don't mind, I'll close out with this, and we'll let Sister Dr. Cheryl give us what to think about. We see each other again. But surely I've turned myself to thee, O Allah, being upright to he who originated the heavens and the earth, and I am not of the polytheists. Surely my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of all the worlds. No associate I sin, this am I commanded, and I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the King, there is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, I am thy servant. I have been greatly unjust to myself, and I confess my faults. So please grant protection against all my faults. Here's been.
Guide me to the best of my.
Say it again, please.
Guide me to the best of my.
Guide me to the best tomorrows, and I can guide me to the best tomorrows for thee, and turn away from me the evil and these tomorrows, and I can turn away from me the evil and these tomorrows for thou. And O Allah, make Muhammad successful, and the followers of Muhammad successful, as thou to make Abraham, and the followers of Abraham successful. For sure thou art praised and magnified. And O Allah, bless Muhammad and the followers of Muhammad, as thou to bless Abraham and the followers of Abraham. For sure thou art praised and magnified. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Thank you again, Sister Cheryl.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for listening to MAP5. We will have this show uploaded to our YouTube channel shortly, and where you will be able to go back and revisit all of the wonderful information we provided to you today, and share and like it. Follow us on the channel, and follow us on all of our social media under CWSC and AM360. This is how we get this information out to our public, and share it with somebody if you like what you see today. And which one of you tell them how they can support the efforts of CWSC? We have the drive still going, right?
Yes, Sister Amatullah, do you have the information in front of you?
No, I don't. The formal drive had an end date, but there's always a drive to support CW, Community-Wide Sure Conference, to continue in supporting this program.
Yes.
Is AM360, the daily broadcast of AM360. So you go to the CWSC website under donate and just donate. And we had we were asking people, those who could afford it, to consider doing the $9.99 a month. If you can't, that's okay. Whatever you can afford to give us, it all helps. Because Zoom does have a cost to it. And the more people that you have on your Zoom platform, the different upgrades. I noticed with the different upgrades, they upgrade their plan and the costs. And Brother Fareed will know about this in terms of the storage of the programs that are uploaded, the iCloud storage. So all of those things have a real cost, and we need people to help us in that way, inshallah, God willing, whatever you can. And a way to help also, as Cheryl said, is subscribe, like the program, and more importantly, share any broadcasts, all broadcasts, with your friends. We haven't monetized the program, the platform yet, but if we can get our numbers up, God willing, maybe we'll be able to monetize the program. But so there's a lot of ways that you can help.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And with that, I want to tell you, stay powerful, stay prayerful, stay philanthropic, stay politically engaged. Do something for someone without the expectation of anything in return. Just do it because it's the right thing to do. My grandmother, in the words of mi abuela, change the way you look at things, and things you look at will also change. We will see you back here, inshallah, every Monday.
On the best coast, where the sun rises every day at
1 o'clock where
p.m.
the sun blazes. Blazes every afternoon on the East Coast. 12 o'clock in the middle of the country. And 10 o'clock on the West Coast. Every Monday we have a new episode for you. So we hope you will join us for MAP5, Muslim American Power 5. And with that, I tell you, I also want to say publicly thank you to those who have supported my re-election. I'll give you some news next week. Water is life. We're working into this.
Yes.
Water is la vida.
Yes.
So
Yes.
September. We're almost halfway through August. We're past halfway through August. Back to school, back to school. We'll sing that song, the most wonderful time of the year.